Welcome to Hot Glass Tips number 1. When you cut rod, or as it comes from the factory with that sharp raw cut end, these ends will boil, and they also have some crud in them, and you really don't want that in your sculpture work. So the best thing to do is just to go ahead and trim the very end of the rods off before you use them. Now I use a water pot, which is nothing more than a mason jar half full of water that I drop little hot pieces of glass like that in so that it doesn't burn my work surface or me. So anyway, that's what I do to keep hot glass off the workbench. Now when you're wanting to build up a mass of glass, let gravity do the work for you. Hold the rod at an angle so that as it heats up, the hot glass will move down the rod, building up the mass of glass. Let gravity do the work for you as opposed to work against you. And of course I'm rotating this to keep it from sagging. Now if I just wanted to keep the amount of glass the same, keep the mass or the size of the ball the same, but wanted to get it more into a sphere shape, I can hold it horizontally and heat it, continuing to rotate it, and let surface tension draw it into a sphere. If I want to pull away from the rod, then I can hold it vertically, and it'll form a teardrop and even drop completely off if I let it. Now I just stuck that holding rod or punning rod on there, and that's a cold seal, and we'll come back to that in a minute. If you want to make pull an S-curve or a curve in the glass, hold it so that when you pull that, you're pulling upward. And then to do a cutoff in the flame, a circular cutoff, you're going to hold it in the flame and kind of twirl it around, and you're going to do that in the flame. Usually, when we work with glass, we heat it in the flame, then take it out of the flame to manipulate it. But in the case of a circular burn-off, you have to do that in the flame. Now I've got kind of a little swan there. It's not a great swan, but it'll do for the purposes of this video. When you want to join two pieces of glass, you heat both pieces of glass to working temperature and then weld them together. Now that weld I just made is a hot seal. It's strong. The two pieces are welded together such that the two pieces are now one piece of glass. It's permanent. As opposed to this seal on the bottom, which is a cold seal. Only the body of the swan was at working temperature when I attached those. The holding rod was hot, but it wasn't working temperature. There is a seam in it. You won't see a seam in the top one. There is a seam in the bottom one. It's weak. It's temporary. And all it takes to break that loose is to tap it on something hard. Send vibration up that rod, and it'll pop right off. Now keep in mind that you do want to put the vibration on the holding rod. That's what you want to tap. You don't want to tap your precious masterpiece that you just finished making, right? So hit the holding rod, let the vibration travel up it to the seal and break the seal, as opposed to tapping the piece and having vibration go through it. Also, if you're not holding it with something, you need to take it with tweezers or hold that piece so it doesn't fall away. Now, juncture of that cold seal, it will leave a rough piece of glass, a little sharp piece. So you want to come back and fire polish that area where the cold seal once was. Now, sooner or later, your working rods turn into little bitty short pieces of glass that are too short for you to work with. There's a number of things you can do with those. One is you can add them as handles to your colored glass. As you've probably figured out, colored glass is a lot more expensive than clear glass, and so you want to use every bit of it that you can. So when those pieces start getting short, you can take a short piece of clear, weld them together, and then you can use the rest of the color on the rod. There's really not much reason to have waste with glass, at least not at bulk waste. You can also take the rods and you can weld them together, increasing the length of it. To do that, just go ahead and heat the ends. Don't overheat too much glass, but heat the ends to working temperature. Take them out of the flame, press them together, and that'll create a little bulge. Then as it starts to cool, pull until you have it down to the diameter of the rod. Then I normally hold it up to my eye and sight down it and turn it while it cools to make sure it's true. That way I have a straight piece of rod. And then, since I've got it hot and what have you already, I just take the longer piece, trim the sharp end off of it, and then put it aside so that when it cools, it'll be ready to work with. And when you're dealing with glass 10 millimeter and above, then joining it that way is not a very good option, because the glass is thick enough that it will end up cracking on you. So for 10 millimeter and above, instead of joining two pieces of 10 millimeter, I normally attach an 8 millimeter handle to it. And I don't have a piece like that. Well, I do. Yes, I do. Here's a piece of 16 millimeter that I have an 8 millimeter handle attached to. So that'll let me use up the rest of this 16 millimeter by holding it by the 8 millimeter end. And usually I have some tin here that has an 8 millimeter handle, but I don't like. Well, there's a little bitty piece, not much, but so that will allow you to make better use of your glass and have less waste. So hope that was helpful to you, and thanks for watching.